Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today, we are talking about the Netflix original series, Arcane.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
This one's a little indie.
I know it's all we've talked about for the last couple of months, but it's, we've had some time to ruminate now on the finale and predictions and all that, and we kind of just want to talk about it as a whole, especially things in the end of Act 3 that were dropped for like future seasons that we didn't even get to when we talked about Act 3 because we had too much else to talk about. So yeah,
I got no notes for this one.
Oh my god, we all have no notes. We're all just coming in here with our emotions.
Yeah, I kind of figured this would be like, I don't want to get too... I was getting way more in depth with the last 3 episodes, and that felt appropriate. This is sort of like I don't know, not airing of the grievances. That's too negative, but just sort of like you got to get it all. We get it all out, be nice and done, and then I'll be honest. I will be happy to not do an Arcane episode next week. It would be nice to go back to something
else.
Just some nice Christmassy
themed episode.
Yeah, light. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to pull apart this monkey bread of an episode.
It is hard.
And then I got hungry.
I guess like just thinking about it now, we've had like time since season 2 ended, and I know I often feel like differently as time goes on about a show. So yeah, I'm really kind of curious to see how we all feel now that it's ended. I would say like I feel more upset that we didn't get like a little bit more, right? One more episode or 10 minutes to each episode more, just something. But like overall as a whole, like I think I'm always going to remember the show with a lot of fondness and like love. I don't know when I'll be able to rewatch it. I wanted to rewatch it for this episode, but literally I was like, I can't yet. Like I cannot rewatch this show yet. Just emotionally. I couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, I think me too. I mean, not the rewatching thing. I've rewatched it a lot. But I think in terms of like how I'll remember it, and I think this is, it might be tied to why parts of, I think the last act in general maybe fell a little flat for me, is the things I will remember are the big moments. That were like very, very meticulously crafted and elicited a lot of strong emotion, and those were great. And I think they maybe took a foreground to a lot more of the
questions,
answering of questions, and maybe like cohesion and attention to detail that we had seen last season and in previous even arcs, I guess. But because of that, I'm gonna remember those moments. So I mean, overall, I mean my grievances too are like it's a potential thing, but if I were to rank it overall, like I would give the first season a perfect 10, and this would still be like a 9. So like I'm not saying that my grievances made me
killed
dislike.
The
show still fucking slaps.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of forgot that this would be a discussion about the series as a whole, right? Which extends back into season 1. Season 1. I definitely agree with this. Like I also wanted to at least have them kind of on in the background and just kind of feel how it felt to go back through Act 1, especially knowing where everything ends up. I also could not do it, partially like this has been a lot of Arcane, and it's like it's been hard for me to like sit down and rewatch it all end to end. Maybe next year we'll sit down and do a big end to end season 1 to season 2. We'll just milk another 6 episodes.
Maybe not 6.
9, 12. Yeah, right. So it's I would be really curious to see what the experience is like moving from season 1 directly into season 2 with the perspective and knowing how everything ends, because they're definitely I definitely maybe you were saying this, maybe you weren't, John, about there being maybe a difference in the way some of certain writing elements maybe are sort of weighted between the two.
Yeah.
And I think that feeling could be very interesting to experience or like sit down and think about, you know?
I think the thing that stuck out the most to me, and I was noticing this too when watching like reactors react to it a lot, because sometimes I'll watch something and I'll miss it and I'll be like, that's on me. I missed it. The pieces were there. Other people saw it and they saw them. That's on me. But like there were a lot of things in the back half of this season that like I saw and I was like, I'm not sure what they were going for. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, you know, what does it mean? I see your face deceiver specifically. Like, you know, what were they doing? Like a lot of those types of questions that I saw echoed in almost all the reactors that I were watching too. Like, what happened? There was a lot of what happened. And I think part of the problem...
Wow, that's really interesting. You're getting like such a different perspective watching all of these reactors and seeing so many people over and over again react to the same way of confusion. I think speaks a lot. Because I feel like sometimes maybe I'm just fucking dumb, you know?
I feel like that about me when I watch things too, you know?
But seeing so many people just like not quite get what they were going for, I think that is... we could officially say a flaw on their part and not us, the individual.
Yeah. And I think if I had to guess, and again, this is purely conjecture, we haven't seen the Bridging the Rift season 2 yet, if they come out with that. But like, if I had to guess, that Arcane has put a lot of faith into the viewers.
Yes.
I think they tell a lot of story in glances and gestures. They count on that a lot instead of words a lot of the time. And especially in season 1, like that shit paid off. Like it was crisp, it was clean. Like there weren't a lot of questions in the storytelling necessarily. And I think the impression that I get is that maybe they had a lot more story because we know they had to cut a lot, right?
Yeah.
My guess is that they were trying to think like, what is the least amount that we can keep in and count on these little details to tell the story without people losing the thread. And I think it was just a miscalculation.
It is.
I think they were so... They had been so like inundated with the story themselves for years and years and years that they take the pieces out and they're like, yeah, this makes total sense. Like, I get it.
And as a writer, that does happen. And that's why you need other people who have no idea what the fuck this is to look at it and be like, what the hell are you talking about here? Because in your head, all the information's there. Yeah,
absolutely. I remember you had mentioned that sort of feeling. I think last episode you had talked a bit about that. And I think it's a very astute observation, right? I think it's a very subtle thing that's easy to miss. But, you know, when we were talking about season 1, it was also something that I feel like we heaped a lot of praise on the show for, was that it's really a lot of attention to detail and trusting the audience, kind of like you said, to pick things up without having to sit down and have someone blah 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 it all out, like direct exposition. And like you said, it made for very nice, very nuanced and tight. Tight is such like a word I would use so much in season 1, and how it's written is tight, and 2 is like sloppy almost. I don't know, not tight.
It was like they made it
so much negative connotation, but
too tight that a lot of important stuff fell out. They squeezed out some of the important stuff.
Oh no, all the story juice.
You overjuiced it. You need to add a little more juice.
Sure, right? Yeah. I think that's reasonable. I think that's a pretty astute observation. And yeah, I would really love to see a Bridging the Rift season 2. I'd be really curious to see what went on. I mean, the fact like it came up at the very end of last episode too that they put the wrong track in apparently in the song, and it's like, to me that's it's like a little bit of smoke, and it's like, okay, what exactly was the fire that was burning a little bit there, you know? What was going on a little bit? I don't know, because I mean it's been in production for a while. Like I could be wrong, but I feel like it was a lot, like there was a lot of production during the height of, you know, pandemic time also, which I'm sure big wrench. That's a massive wrench into any sort of effort like this, right? Which is this massive scale thing, and on top of that, they've got all these massive budgetary concerns. I'm sure they've got. I'm sure it was like a terribly stressful experience making this show. Like, as I think about it now, it makes me stressed out just thinking about it. So I don't know. I'd be kind of curious as to in what ways it played out. I was thinking about this also because someone was talking about. I was reading. You watch a lot of reactions. I read a lot of comments and people talking about things they like or didn't like, and I've seen a lot of discussion around things like, like the sex scene, for example, and its placement and things like that with Caitlin and Vi, and it's also an interesting point that like when they're constructing the show, they also have to construct it with like sort of a background like expectation, like, okay, when we put this out in an international market, certain scenes have to be easily removed or edited or censored. Like, I don't know if you saw, did you see this? Yes, right. Which is like, that's like just an extra binding on the hands of the creators in terms of like, okay, you got this thing that's really integral to the characters, but it has to be able to be kind of removed at any point, right? It's like, okay,
sad.
Make that house of Jenga, right? I mean, obviously it's bad for art and it's bad for much more other humanity reasons, right? So it's
I do kind of appreciate the fact that, like, at least from watching that the Chinese edit, that the writers and animators were like, no, absolutely, fuck that. We're not going to worry about that. We'll let those editors do
That's their problem.
Whatever. This is their fucking problem. We're not making this scene work for
They're not tricking anyone in China either.
That's true. I guess I just mean to say the overall point of to put a point on it all is just that, like, I do have frustrations and complaints with it, but it's also I'd be really curious just to understand what the creative process for it was, because I'm sure there's just a million and one things that they had to kind of figure out with it. I don't know. Yeah, it's just interesting.
I'm really interested to see how it's gonna go going forward. How it'll change, if their kind of creative process will change at all or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like there was probably a lot of pressure on season 2 because season 1 was so well regarded, and like I just can't imagine having to follow that up and end it with a certain budget and a certain amount of time. I don't know, it's hard. How do we feel knowing that I know it has been like officially confirmed, obviously, that we're getting the 3 spin-offs in Demacia, Ionia, and Noxus, not in that order, probably the opposite order that I just said.
Now, I guess just to clarify, was it confirmed that we were getting 3 spin-offs, or was it confirmed that we were getting stories in those 3 areas? Did they confirm that they were going to be 3 separate shows?
I think they confirmed that it's 3 separate shows and that someone from Arcane is going to be in each one, or some kind of story from someone from Arcane is going to be in each one of these. Which I think
Heimerdinger,
so.
All of them.
This is what I'm getting from TikTok, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I like how we all get all of our Arcane information from different places.
It's nice.
And then we put them all together.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if you guys feel a little bit better about some of the way some of these people were left, knowing that we'll probably hear more about them later. And do we have any idea? Obviously, Mel's going to be Noxus, and that's next. We know that much. But any ideas on what Arcane characters might appear in Demacia or Ionia or Noxus? It might not just be Mel who appears in a Noxus story.
Singed in Ionia.
Singed, yeah.
Sure.
I think that's maybe finding out where Jinx went. But people are predicting she'll be the Demacia kind of.
My God, Jinx and Demacia.
That's such an interesting.
Because she like.
I don't know.
It's not like she wouldn't fit in there. She's not magic-y.
The blue hair alone, people would be like, "What the hell is that?"
I mean, she'd fit right in with Sona.
That's true. I forgot Sona has blue hair.
Jinx Sona could be a pretty. It's hard to figure out where the hell Jinx is going to turn out, because it's hard to figure out kind of where she's at the end of the whole thing anyway. Like Jinx
and where she would fit in.
Yeah. How much of a role she would even play? Would she just kind of like a little tip of that the old hat? And
she just kind of
walking by with blue hair, like
interesting.
Right.
One of those like end of Batman type scenes.
Right, bias. Yeah, exactly. Right.
I honestly hope so, because I don't want to. I'm kind of happy with where we left
I know you like
off
where
with Jinx. Like I'd
like to see more of her, but that's just me being a Jinx fan. Yeah.
No, yeah, I also am kind of. I'm sitting, I think, mostly with you, John. I wasn't the happiest with the way it was executed, but narratively, broadly, I like
it's
where
a good
she's kind of
ending.
at. It would be kind of weird to come back to her I feel like, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe, you could, if you can do it well, anything can work, I suppose.
That's true.
Right. I still don't think they're anything less than geniuses there. So, like, if anyone can figure out how to make it work, I'm confident it's them still. But
yeah,
they'd be making it hard for themselves.
I can't imagine
like a challenge.
How they would work it, but I want to see Echo's story continue because I feel like he didn't get a satisfying ending for me.
Yeah, Echo really got...
But I can't see him leaving Zaun. So I don't know if we'll ever get a continuation of Echo. If anything, I hope that, League of Legends lore will continue with Echo somehow, even if we don't in Arcane.
You know what the worst part was that I just thought of?
Oh, what?
Man, everyone in the whole, not the whole world, but like everyone in Piltover was already all like zombified by the time Echo saved the day. No one's gonna fucking believe him. He's literally the hero of all time. Like, in addition to all the ways he's been screwed throughout the series, this is a final fuck you.
He doesn't do it for the recognition, John.
He doesn't, but I'm sure it would be nice.
It'd be nice to get it.
It would be nice to get a little recognition.
Maybe a paycheck.
Yeah, some food.
Seriously?
Is my tree still dying? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a really fair point.
That all feels
way
too open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say I feel like I've seen communiques from the Riot that champions like Renata, Zeri, the plans for them are to sort of exist within that as just like Degrassi, the next generation. You know what I mean, right? Like,
oh yeah, I see that. Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be there, and they'll just take place a little later. I can see Echo naturally sort of maybe flowing into there. It would be nice for him to like. Him and Zeri, and he's sitting there complaining, like, saved the whole fucking city. And everyone was getting turned into a fucking ceramic monster, and no one remembers anything. It sucks.
Do you think Zeri would sympathize, or just be like, okay, yeah, Echo, I get it?
Old man Echo. He's like 19 Echo. Or whatever. He's
like a little older.
He's one of the oldest kids ever in Zaun.
Right?
Oh, no, you're right. One of the few that's made it out of childhood.
I'm not mad at that because that's kind of in line with how Echo's is with his powers, right? Where he's constantly doing things and no one else is aware of them because he's the only one who remembers. So I'm kind of open to it.
Yeah, you're right.
Aside from Singed and Ionia, I would be curious to see if there was. I remember with Mel, like we had a lot of thoughts about that little flashback sequence of her, and that imagery shows up again in this season with that. Whoever it is that got deposed, that read very Ionia. Mm-hmm. So if there's history there, I'd be interested to see it. I'd be interested to see Mel. I don't know, in the Noxus story, but working with like on the side of Ionia or something like that.
I would like that. Would be really fun, actually. Is if the next one's not Noxus, it's Ionia. Mel goes to Ionia. That's the next season, and that's where she goes. It would throw me off. It would kind of make sense if you have these magic abilities and you kind of don't know where they came from to go to Ionia to try to learn about them. Although, honestly, I don't know. She seemed to have control over them just fine. Why couldn't Talia figure it out? She had to go find like 8 mentors to get all that working.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a little high. If your power is like shielding and protection versus causing avalanches, I imagine one is harder to fuck up.
So you're saying support is easy. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Unless you put a box around somebody's gun and accidentally make them shoot themselves in the head, but who would do that?
I wish
that
Mel
better be
could,
a goddamn ability that you could reflect a skill shot back at somebody.
Back at her. Dude. I would get kind of hype about it, yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Demacia is, I don't know, a big question mark. I feel like Demacia will be... God, Mel's also one where it's like Mel and Demacia could be interesting because with her story in season 2 is where they've introduced more of what's going on with the world, in regards to mages, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. Just wish it was anywhere other than Demacia.
I will say I'm kind of shocked that they're even willing to go there because it's like I kind of figured Freljord would be where they would go, or Bilgewater is also potential, but Bilgewater I think is almost a little too. I don't want to say like one note, but it's like it's so piratey. Right?
It is. Yeah, I think they could do it in a way that would be. I think they could do any region in a way that would be great. Yeah. But yeah, it is it's a little bit more cliche of a place, I guess. It's the pirate region. I get it.
I mean, I think Bilgewater, when it's done proper and given its due diligence, is really good. Ruined King is a good example of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I just had this feeling about the modeling. I think maybe it was the Sona episode. I don't know. One of our relatively recent episodes kind of noted that like Silas was the last Demacian champion, I want to say, and they had not, aside from Kingslayer, Mage Seeker, whatever that fucking
Mage
name
Seeker, you got it.
Whatever. They have not touched it narratively. It's like a giant black hole. I think they weren't really sure what they want to do with it. So if they do Demacia here, it's like, I know Arcane is rewriting the book in a lot of places, but Demacia especially is sort of like going to answer. This is like, that's going to be a big shift for what's going on with the region, and like, are we going to confirm and canonize or tweak what's gone on in Mage Seeker? Like, who knows?
I think about that a lot too, because Demacia has like a ton of history, where I feel like Piltover and Zon didn't really as much.
Yeah, like they've got like the history that we've heard, like we know the vast history with like Shurima and its interaction with Piltover, but like so ancient, not deeply. We know about it through like modern character stories.
Yeah. Whereas Demacia has a lot going on. So if they start earlier than where the lore is now, I think that's a much bigger thing. Because it's like we know what happens. We know what happens with Silas breaking out and killing King Jarvan III. And I don't think they would change that. That would be like a huge thing to change. So it's like, are we jumping forward in time until after the Mage Rebellion?
Did you just say Silas breaking out and killing King Jarvan III?
Oh, God. Whatever. Killing.
I guess if the Demacian
they want you to say.
Sorry. Okay, that's what people think.
I heard Silas at Dragonborn killed every little baby that he ever met. I heard he thought of that. I heard he sarcastically asked if they should let someone go and then kill them.
He did do that though.
Okay, he did do that one.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is that like when we look at Piltover and Zon, so many of those people are more, they're not really power players, Camille kind of, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe Victor and Jace, but in the old, especially as they were written before, they were a lot smaller in their scale ultimately compared to like now. With Demacia, the champions are like fucking the current king or king to be, Garen's pretty big power player. It's just a lot more like, they're a lot more involved in like the modern, what's happening in terms of big political things compared to, I think, most of the Piltover and Zon characters. So I think that, I don't know. It's a big question mark. I was really curious. I mean, I would still be terribly excited for anything that came out in regards to it. I think I would hope, especially if they kind of take the meaningful feedback, the stuff that's actionable and usable about season 2 and can kind of refine things. Like just keep making it better. It's not going to be perfect. You just keep working on it and trying to make the next thing even better, right? Could be really good, man. Noxus is, I think, it seems like they're like, I know they're doing the new season thing. This is back into the game side of stuff where they're going to have the themes, and Noxus is the first theme. So I feel like they're going to go really whole hog on Noxus as like their next entryway into the world. Right,
yeah,
I think it's the best play.
Audiences.
It really gives the most creative freedom, I feel like, Noxus, because like it's a melting pot of like cultures and civilizations. Like there's no, it's not like Bilgewater where there's just a specific theme that they've got to adhere to. They don't hate magic like Demacia. They can play around with literally anything they want to play around with there. It's, honestly, like, I'm kind of the same thing with like Ionia too, and God, that's another reason why I'm so surprised they're doing Demacia afterwards. I feel like the first 2 are just going to seem so interesting. God, I'm such a Demacia hater.
A lot of it's a little dull, but I think that they would make Demacia much more interesting. They got me to like Jace, so
that's fair.
I thought that was impossible.
Yeah.
When it goes to Demacia, prequel, we're getting the Kael Morgana story.
Yo, that'd be fucking bonkers if they did that. That'd be awesome, though.
I'm not the I mean, I don't know how much you're joking, but it seems like it's. I would put it on the board as like you could reasonably put a bet on it. You know what I mean? Like they
There's
they
not
went
a
really hard with.
0% chance.
Ooh, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
interesting because they're going to go through Noxus. If they do Noxus and then Ionia, you're going into a lot of magic stuff and Rune Wars, and then maybe they would do that prequel of this old time, the Rune Wars, Morgana and Kael, this kind of area. That could be interesting.
And if that's the through line, my initial prediction, Heimerdinger in every season.
You know what,
John, we have
I'm
to
getting
come
more
back.
accurate by the second.
Somebody, if this happens, somebody tag John on Discord in 10 years.
Right? It'll be just like when we invented Heartsteel.
Honestly, though, we did.
You call Poppy. You say, "Poppy, come in. Look at this.
Oh, she'll be like in college by the time
you were just a little baby when I made this prediction. But come here."
You muted yourself, I think.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself or something. I can't hear you. Nope, still can't. No. Uh-oh.
Oh,
he's got an idea. Uh-huh.
Hey,
Hey, did you kick a cord?
I got too excited about Heimerdinger showing up in Old Demacia.
Oh, man.
Well, it's like they went hard on Kill Morgana in Still Here, and that's a pair who, like, I feel like I, at least personally, am not the biggest that into Kael Morgana, but I think a lot of people are, and like if you gave them the Arcane treatment, I could certainly get into Kael Morgana.
Oh yeah, that
sure.
The pain of those maybe they'll all be about sisters. Ooh. All of the shows
or siblings, right?
I guess.
Like maybe Kino's not dead, or maybe he is. I don't know.
Or maybe we get the Cassiopeia Katarina story in Noxus.
Katarina and Noxus, whose siblings in Ionia.
Yasuo's got a brother. Well, have a brother.
Ouch, man. I can't believe I just said who are siblings in Ionia as if fucking Yasuo and Yone aren't right there. They're like the most obvious siblings. Fuck.
Zed is kind of like a brother to Shin. You ready to see the Zed comic one more time?
I can't fucking wait, dude. That'd be great.
Let's do it again. I mean, but that being said, Jin. If they got into Jin,
I know Jin. I think Jin
it.
would be the most interesting thing they could do in Ionia, or very close to.
Yeah, they should just do that. They should do that. Mm-hmm. Fuck whatever I said about Mel. Jin all the way. Get into Jin. People love Jin. He would be so. Yeah.
Now, question: do people love Jin because of his mystery? I feel like a lot of Jin's like mystique and intrigue is around the fact that like we see very little of the horrors that people describe of Jin, right? Like all the cool shit that he does, we usually see the aftermath, and even that a very sanitized version of it. If they had to do a whole show of it, could they manage it without ruining the mystique?
He's not saying people love Jin like they want to marry him. No. They love how horrible he is.
Yeah, but I'm saying we can't see how horrible he is. Like the whole point, like,
oh no, I don't think that's it.
No, I think I think you would. I think people like Jin because I think the idea of his I think his shtick is nice and unique and original and fun. Right, the performer, murder performance artist guy is really a lot of fun, and the gruesomeness of it is just. I think a lot of people who, or maybe have less of a in-depth knowledge of the lore, and they're just like people who played Jin and they like his shtick. Maybe they read his bio or something. I think mostly just like that part, and not super keyed into the fact that he also turns people into quote unquote flowers, as it were. You know
what I think the balance is? Show Jin as much as you showed Singed. I feel like that's a nice level to show an intriguing villain without overdoing it.
Yeah, that kind of follows with how Jin. I mean, that's kind of how he's presented in a lot of the lore, to be honest with you, right? Is that he's kind of just in the background doing his machinations and scheming, and when he shows up, it's very striking, right? So.
Speaking of Singed, are we hoping that we get to see Oriana later? Like some kind of.
Must, right?
I would like to see, the grown Oriana. And how does she grow? Is she getting older? That's still a question I have.
Maybe
she's a robot lady now.
Who the fuck knows? Maybe he'll cart her along with him to Ionia. And she'll see what he's doing or done.
What he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got to split him up.
Yeah. That could be nice and tragic. I would be really interested to see Oriana walking around Ionia. Not just because the name sounded a little similar or whatever. But like this robot person, and like, because she's like entirely artificial and set against this like completely naturalistic like landscape and background, could be very interesting.
Mark, I love how your go-to here is I want to see them in Ionia. That's been everybody so far.
Yeah, let's put everybody in Ionia. Yeah, I think that's.
I'll be honest, I don't want to see Oriana.
You don't want to see Oriana? No. Okay.
That's fair.
Wow.
I think that's fair, to be honest with you.
I don't think we're going to, but I would like to see what becomes of Oriana and how she and Sinch, because Sinch has to lose his daughter now, right? Yeah. That's the most painful thing to happen next. So I think it will happen, but I don't know.
I would be a little intrigued to see how Piltovans and Zonites react to Oriana, because she is now
that's true. She now kind
almost
of looks
the sole surviving remnant of the magic that almost destroyed it, with the exception of maybe Warwick. I don't know what essentially, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know if he's gonna get found again by Singed and tinkered on some more, or like, or what.
I think he's done now. Why would he? He got his daughter fixed up.
Yeah, he put it, but I really do love that. Singed is like,
you just can't catch a break.
It's an addiction now. Again. You know, he started. God, yeah, poor Vander. Although I think he's fully dead now, Vander.
Yeah,
he got one grenade.
I know, he's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
They blasted him in the face. He's fine, with 3 or 4 hex crystals.
Yeah. Yeah, surely he's just going to be positioned in lore where he's just running around in Zon. He's going to be doing the same shit now. Although, like, I feel like... Gosh, I don't know. I guess we can start talking back about the season or whatever. Because I feel like with what was shown in Act 3, if there is Warwick running around, he's fully expunged to Vander at this point. You know, he'll just regrow us. It'll be like Kingdom Hearts, where he'll just kind of regrow a soul, even though you shouldn't be able to. He'll regrow his Vander. Yeah,
now
like
he has 2 hearts.
He'll just come back. Yeah,
one is less dark than the other dark heart.
He's already has Xehanort or whatever that guy's name is. So
James and Victor gonna pop back into
existence
here after wherever the fuck they went. Victor's gonna find Warwick and be like, ooh, I feel like I fucked up with this one. Here, I've got a bit of your humanity still saved in my database.
He's gonna blow a soul into him.
Here you go. I'm gonna give you just enough that it'll hurt a lot to do what you do, but not enough to help you in any way.
It's like giving Angel a soul in Buffy. He'll become the Angel.
He's gonna curse him. Great, awesome. Also, I was gonna say, man, if you're blowing souls into somebody, that's like that head game is next level. I'm just gonna say, like,
the feet god and the throat coat, Victor. Jesus. Right?
You made me feel existential pain every second now that I've got a human soul again. Goddamn.
Please don't ever say the feet god and the throat goat together. Or just ever. Also, this is the second time you've said throat goat to me this week. I feel like you said that another time this week and I don't remember why. But
it's coming up a lot. It's a hot button issue. People want to know.
Anyway, I want to complain about how Savika had no lines in Act 3.
Yeah, I think that was something
bothering me.
I didn't mention it last episode because I felt like I was getting too negative, or I was done. But yeah, right? Yes, what you said. Go on. Yes. Go off, Queen.
Mostly just that. Is she started to have a bigger role. Her connection with Jinx. She never acknowledges or finds out, or we see that she finds out about Isha. And I think she would. In general, Isha's not mentioned in Act 3 once. And that didn't bother me at first, but it did bother me later. I feel like Vi, at the very least, would say something about Isha when she reunites with Jinx. And she didn't, and that bothered me. And seeing Savika not be a part of any of that at all, or what Jinx is going through later. It bothers me a lot. I love that she's on the council. I love that she's taken the Kiraman spot, so Caitlyn likely gave up her family spot so Zahn can have a representative, and I think that's awesome. I love that. I love that everyone at the table still kind of didn't want her there. So we're really still showing that this is not fixed. Not all is well. Zahn and Piltover are still struggling, and they're going to struggle for generations probably. And Savika being here is a great step, but I wish she would say something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. For sure. I think, like you said, her not. It's a shame because, like, when we look back in like episode 2 or whatever, right? When it's like her and Jinx, and they have that action sequence with her arm, and then Isha's there. It's like, and it makes me think of the bit where, in season 1, she gives a little bit of like father-daughter relationship advice to Silco. You know, where she's not an inhuman monster, and she would write maybe. That would be something that would really help tie her and Jinx and Isha a little bit more of a found family type situation. That it is. I feel like that is a big missed opportunity that she wasn't involved in that more in the first place. And then you've got the big like sword hanging over of like Jinx did kill Silco, and Savika does not know that, and so that's information you can always drop in to cause problems. And I don't know. She doesn't know about that, as far as I know. It never comes up. Never gets resolved.
She might know. I don't think so, but I'm not really sure. And I feel like Isha dying on top of her killing Silco, if they ever wanted to drop that, that's kind of what would make them not really fit together anymore. I feel like Isha became something that could help bond them, I guess, a little bit. Mm-hmm. And also Jinx kind of reuniting with Vi in a sense. I don't know if Savika and Vi would ever... It would have been great to see them meet each other again, though. I really would have loved to see Vi and Savika. Because now that Savika's on the council, they're running into each other. Yes. And all they did in season 1 was try to kill each other. So I really want to know what that interaction is like. Maybe they become besties.
They were just play fighting. It's fine.
Did Vi and Savika... Did they have any?
They had no interactions in season 2. 0.
That's wild when you say.
I know.
I think
they had they were in the same room while Savika was fighting Caitlyn and Vi was fighting Jinx.
Oh, true.
They didn't fight each other at any point.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I think I completely agree that like in episode 7, some other imagined season where things went very differently. Vi and Savika having to be in the same room, and Jinx almost like I would love to see like them fighting and Jinx having to use her like all of her shimmer abilities to like get them to shut the fuck up for a second. Right?
Yeah. I also do like the idea of them having some awkward ass fucking interaction in like the middle of the council building or something where like they can't start some if I would anyway, she wouldn't care where she is. And Savika having to be like, she's like, I have to look like I belong here. I'm on the council now. They don't want me here. I'm representing my people.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of the Piltover Zahn political drama also kind of falls out and falls to the wayside in favor of like what's going on with Jason Victor. And it's like,
it does.
It's because when we're talking about it, I'm just like, I'm liking it more. Like what you just described, right? Is like that's so in line with what the same journey that Silco kind of went through, which is like once you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Like once.
He said just like that, though.
But like literally, right? Like she would again have to start learning and experiencing the same things of once you start like leading people and what it means to lead and how you have all this shit, right? And how each of these characters deals with that situation differently or similarly. It's like it would tie it way more into what's going on in season 1. It would keep us. I feel like it would keep things a little smaller, a little more like, man.
Yeah, I like all this better than the hex core crap. To be honest.
I think a suggestion I have seen, and I think it's one that I tend to agree with. I don't know if a whole other season was like would fix things or was necessary, but like having the Piltovers on political stuff bubble up and be way more the focus of a season 2 with the Victor J stuff running in the background and slowly escalating into a season 3.
I like that.
That's a suggestion I've seen, and I kind of agree that I feel like that would be better.
Yeah, that'd be good. You'd have time to give Isha a proper send-off.
I know.
It does see, when you look at all the people that died in season 1, it's like, I think maybe with the exception of, I guess, God, why am I blanking on his name right now? Vander's friend.
Oh.
Benzo.
Oh, Benzo, yeah.
Like, with the exception of Benzo, I feel like everybody got either a decent send-off, what they deserved in Marcus's case, or more screen time. So, like, you know, like the boys, you know, they didn't maybe get the best send-off because they died unexpectedly, but they show up throughout the season. You see the impact that it had on Jinx and everything like that. You see that a lot. Vander, obviously. Marcus, fuck him. Caitlyn's mom, we see season 2. She gets a hell of a send-off. Like, but Isha was like a really integral part of Act 2. Yeah. Like Act 1 and 2, really. Like the back half of Act 1 and 2. And like literally the only real impact we get is like an Isha themed balloon that Jinx makes at the end. Obviously, like Jinx is going through it as a result of it, but there's no, I could be misremembering. I don't think there's a single scene or even bit of text that like ties the turmoil back to Isha at all.
I think in a way it's almost fitting because she's another Dead Zon kid, right? That's something that Vi said. But I still think it should have been mentioned between Jinx and Vi, Jinx and Savika, just something to see a little bit more. I don't know.
For sure, right? I think this is part of why I remember saying I felt like I wanted a more cohesive or definite sort of resolution to the end of Act 2, right? Because we never really get it, and as much as like I wanted some of that for just the actuals of like what actually happened. I think some of that want also came from the exact things that y'all are talking about, which is like you said, I want someone to say Isha's name in Act 3 aside from a flashback of Jinx. Like I was really looking out for it on my rewatch, and there was the exact one time where it was like in the flashback of Jinx yelling Isha.
And that was a flashback that Vi was having, wasn't it? It wasn't even like a Jinx flashback.
I think so. I think it was kind of like just little flashes of but yeah, it's like you said, Vi going to Jinx and it coming up more. You know, like it could be really striking to have Vi try and express empathy or sympathy, whatever is appropriate, with Jinx, right. And to Jinx to kind of I don't know if this is like makes sense for the scene, but I would love to have her just throw it back in Vi's face, like, you have no fucking idea what's happening with me right now. You couldn't know, right? Yeah. It's just like it's different than something you can't know.
And like all it had to be was like you know the single line that like Jinx gives to Caitlyn too, like, you know,
I didn't know your mom was there.
Yeah, probably wouldn't make a difference, but I didn't know. Like I really something as simple as that from Vi to Jinx would have been just fine for me.
Sure,
just acknowledge that this kid existed.
Because I one thing that kind of threw me off was almost the way Vi went into protective big sister mode again. I don't know what it was when she ran and she saw Jinx and she hugged her. I liked it and I liked that it was there, but something about it felt off. And maybe it is just not mentioning Isha, just kind of acting like it didn't happen and saying we'll run away together without acknowledging like how she looks right now, how depressed she is, how she's bleeding because she's ripping apart her own fingers. Like, I don't know. It's just, it felt like the writers didn't like Vi. It's almost what it, and I think she can be a very interesting character, and they didn't play with her as much as I would have liked them to in this act, or this season, rather.
Well, I guess that's a question, right, of like, is that an intentional writing choice where Vi is just either I would say unobservant, which is like a more meaner, what's the word I'm trying to think of, less
intuitive. or
I don't know. It's
doesn't
not,
have any
I can't think of the
emotional
exact-
intelligence.
it's okay.
Yeah, something like that, right? That's like a worse perspective on her. Or I would almost be interested if it was like an intentional choice where she thought the best way to kind of handle the situation was like, oh, I shouldn't bring up that dead kid.
Yes.
That's going to really sink the conversation.
I think if that were the case, then I would have like Jinx to have said something then.
Yeah, or something about Vi keying the audience. We need to know that that's what Vi is attempting
that she's
to do,
intentionally, ignoring Isha. Yeah,
because something they did, like, they paid specific attention to was like animating those moments that Vi very clearly was seeing the interactions between Isha and Jinx. There's so many small moments they took the time to animate of her noticing these things.
Yeah, she noticed how much they cared about each other. She included Isha on them like finding a place to go together, right? And like being a family again. Like, I think she intentionally included Isha in that. So I don't know. It seems so off that Vi wouldn't say anything about Isha. Not even to Caitlyn afterwards. Just something like, I didn't know how to approach it with her, and I ignored it, and I think that was wrong. Just something. Or this kid was so sweet, I barely got to know her. She changed my sister.
No, yeah. I mean, that conversation like that you're describing with her and Caitlyn and Vi, just just kind of owning up to like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I wanted to help, and I fucked things up even harder. It's like, just thinking about it makes me sad in a good way, where it's like, it would feel way more like, again, human and normal, because it's like, I wouldn't know how to talk to somebody who was in that position.
Yeah,
what
especially
a
sibling that you were so close to, and then this horrible thing happened that separated you guys, and you tried to kill each other. Like, just this really, really fucked up relationship, but you love each other so much. And yeah, what do you say to her? She doesn't really know Jinx anymore like she used to. She would have known what to say to Powder, right? And she doesn't know what to say to Jinx. And yeah,
I'm reminded of a scene. I watched a horror movie recently called, oh cripes, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, the character has lost her kid, and she's having this conversation with her sister, and the sister is trying. It's this whole sequence, right? It's the sister trying to reconnect with the other sister, and it kind of ends with the one who's lost her kid being like, just like, you have no idea who I am or what's happened. You have kids, I have a hole, right? And it's like something like that with Vi and Jinx, I think could have been really, really touching and effective.
Especially because they gave her that scene with Caitlyn. Like,
yeah.
Like that scene exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's what frustrates me with that too is that it pulls me back towards more of that feeling of Isha being less of a character and more of a
plot device.
Plot device, yeah. You could look at Milo and Clagger in season 1 as like they are devices for the development of like Jinx and or Powder, whatever. But it's like you said, they really are a persistent thing throughout that season. Like their shadows literally are like hanging over her, and it's like in a way that feels way more and they were little characters. I don't know. I'd be interested to like sit down and really try and do a compare contrast between Isha and Milo and Clagger and see how I felt about them. Like, what makes Milo and Clagger work better than Isha, and is it how they're handled after the fact, or is it how they're established before the fact? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you think Isha's doing in the alternate timeline?
Oh God.
Probably living it up.
Who knows?
Still biting people, but that's
still
a developmental thing.
The doctor said it's normal.
That's fine. They go through this phase.
She'll grow out of it.
Every Zon kid goes through this biting phase. Then you bite Zach, and that's it.
He fixes.
He fixes.
He clears out all the gook in your teeth. Instead of flossing, you just bite a piece of Zach.
I kind of would love that.
Zach dentist.
Zach's the locals are. Oh man, I would love Zach dentist DDS or whatever. Where was it? Where were the?
I think it's DDS. Oh man.
Oh man. Okay, I feel like we've been a little negative, and not with undue course. What are some really big highlights or high points of the season? Just kind of looking back,
or just as a whole, right?
Or as a whole, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I will say one thing I love, again, as someone who watches a lot of reactions, is like there's so many big moments that just bring people to tears.
Yeah.
And like, not even necessarily just like the big, this is the closing of the act moment. They're just like a lot of small moments in episodes in this season that are just like super touching. When you think about even just like the first episode, like it opens super powerfully with like the I guess the opening didn't make me emotional, like the explosion, but then it goes straight to like the Caitlyn's mom's funeral, and like that was a big moment, and like you get a lot of touching conversations between Vi and Caitlyn here, and I don't know, they're just like, they were really good at generating emotional, like genuine emotional connections between characters, and just like setting up genuinely emotional situations in this season. I mean, not that they weren't in last season, but like even more in this season, I feel like. And they didn't feel cheap, like, how you can like watch things and you're like, all right, well, I feel like I can feel my emotions being manipulated right now.
Like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Sure.
But they felt like, for the most part, they all felt very earned.
All right, what part makes you cry the most?
In season 2?
That's a big question.
I guess during your reactions, any season. You've watched a lot of reactions.
Interesting.
God, come back to me on that. I'll think about it. I'm going to be quiet for like 5 minutes and just think about this.
All right, Mark, what were your highs?
I'll answer your question. For season 2, it's the bit of Jinx talking and kind of monologuing in Silco's office, where she's got the chair. I think the bit that stuck with me is where she was, she's kind of talking through it more than to him, obviously, and she's talking about how like, I've got this thing going now, and I have this friend, and I don't want to mess it up, and maybe that's what it was like for you. And then it's just something about that is like, it makes me feel, that really got me. I don't know what it is specifically about it that got me, but it just, it felt very genuine for like her. I don't know. It almost made me think of like Jinx in that moment, kind of coming to some sort of understanding of where like Silco beyond just being a parent figure, but where you can kind of understand in some ways your parents as humans or as people almost a little bit. And seeing that was how she was feeling about Isha, and again, like in season, I thought I had mentioned this before, but like during the prison break sequence where they're both reunited and then immediately separated again, that also really landed. It's very, it's heart wrenching, seeing Isha having such a strong reaction to what's happening, and everything's so chaotic and just horrid in that whole sequence.
Yeah, it's such a good one.
Those
I think it's the Remember Me scene.
Oh God, it's so devastating.
Yeah, the Victor digging through Vander's brain. Honestly, both scenes of Victor digging through Vander's. So like the Remember Me scene and the God, what is it? The 21
Jump Street.
The 21 Jump Street song, like that one.
The line.
Yeah, those two scenes, fucking devastating.
Yeah, I had forgotten about the watercolors, but I that was also one that really landed. Yeah, I mean, I guess stepping away from it, broader highlights for like season 2. I mean, it's still I feel like maybe I don't like laud the animation and stuff enough, because it's really good, and it's really well done, and everyone feels, even when like we're having complaints about more of the broader writing, like the moment to moment still feels so good. And it's like I was rewatching at one point, I think I told y'all about this. At one point I watched a little bit of the Warhammer animation stuff that's on there, like Warhammer Plus streaming or whatever, and is an indulgence, and it's like it can be so much worse than what we get in Arcane, right? I will just say, and that's not, like, they have their individual episodes or parts of some of those shows that are okay, but like they really have made something that's very beautiful to look at, and the animation is still just stellar. The art direction and the direction of how characters are like moving at any given time, or the expressions that are on their faces and the way they react to things, it just makes it feel so. It just elevates everything, right?
And I think to add on that too, like the fact that, I mean, they could do exactly the same style for everything throughout the season, and it would look amazing. But like knowing that could also get stale, and like knowing that it's a great style of animation, but different emotions require different styles of animation, and not cheaping out on it, right? Like I'm sure that they could do the majority of what they did in a lot of these episodes through like, various types of computer shenanigans,
Wizardry,
like the fact that they took the time to actually do charcoal drawings for the Caitlyn scene and actually do the watercolors for the watercolor scenes, like, and the dedication really shows.
Yeah,
for sure. It's an effort that I feel like maybe I've left to like wither on the vine a little while as it complain about other things, and it's like and the things that we have frustrations with are very important, but I don't want to undersell that. Like I mean, that's a massive part of, we were talking earlier about the creative process and them getting the thing made, and that's a massive part of it, was that they had to dedicate so much time and energy and budget to making this thing look this way so that it looks like something of quality, and it's important, right?
Yeah.
And I like it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's fun. I was gonna say, it's funny to think back and when you guys were working at Riot and they were talking about how they would never make a movie or a show unless they knew they could do it right. And like they really fucking hit that promise.
Yeah.
They were not lying. They were not joking. They're like, we're not going to make some World of Warcraft movie.
I remember how much the tone shifted after the World of Warcraft movie came out.
Because it bombed so badly, because it's awful. There's a Patreon episode we did where we reviewed it, by the way. Reviewed it. I don't know, just kind of talked about it really funnily.
Dude, check that episode out.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love when we watch bad video game movies. We need to do another one of those for the Patreon, because those are so fun.
I mean, we did go through and watch all of Twisted Metal, even though we didn't talk about it.
I know, we haven't done it. I don't think Mark watched it. Twisted Metal was fun, though. I did like that. But we also talked about Silent Hill 2, which was... Wait, I did not know that's what happened to that movie. Didn't we do Silent Hill 2? Yeah, we watched Silent Hill 2.
We definitely did.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about the sequence where Malcolm McDowell shows up where they got him for like a day.
It's like in WoW where they got what's her name? The actual real deal actress who's in WoW for half a second.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Those old British ladies, right?
Glenn Close? Is that it?
I think it was Glenn Close.
Little cameo?
Or Tilda Swinton. One of those.
Well, what is it? That new Amazon show is out now.
Which one's that?
What's it? Oh,
the Secret Level?
Secret Level, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure some of those are going to be bad.
I saw one that was like a 2000s hardcore grimdark Pac-Man, so we should do that one. That's a good suggestion, I'll say.
Fuck yeah. I love how we're just like now talking about the Patreon and stuff.
We got a little sidetrack.
I was going to say, while we were on the topic of like how talented they are, like, and our complaints and everything, I will say, I mentioned before that like I still have no doubt that like everyone who worked on the show is like a genius. I would even, you know what? I'm gonna plant my flag and say like they are probably the best. I'd be willing to bet that you could not replace people on this project and come out with a better product than what happened. I'd be willing to bet whatever happened, you still had the best people possible on it.
Trying to do it. Interesting. I don't know. That's a very interesting idea. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Listener, what's your fan cast for the creative team behind Arcane Season 2? Right? Who do you want to get in the mix? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, maybe? He could be he could be the art director. I don't know.
Someone do Arcane, but Vi is played by The Rock instead. I really, really need to see that. Thank you. There's got to be footage of Dwayne Johnson that you could replace.
I feel like maybe this is also probably just because I'm a huge Christian stan.
Oh. I thought you said Christian Slater.
No, Christian stan. I stan Christian.
Okay, Mark.
Christian Link.
Christian Link,
yeah. Specifically.
I feel like
Christian
that's important.
Link. At first I was hearing I'm a huge Christian, and I'm like, no, John, you're not. I had so many thoughts as you were having this sentence. And then I heard Christian and I was like, Slater? Christian Slater?
I'm a huge Christian Slater.
Christian Link stan. Huge fan of him. Yeah. He's a big role model of mine, I'll say. You know?
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the first people I met at Riot because he was on my interview panel.
That's crazy.
And I was a big fan of him before I interviewed, too, because I was looking into who was doing the music beforehand, because I already loved the music before I applied. And then he just got better the whole time I was there. I don't know how you I don't know how you come in as a genius and then just get progressively better the whole time. But I feel like most things at Riot that I was like, God, this is so cool. I can't believe this got made. Christian's behind most of it. The Get Jinxed music video, the fucking Amumu music video.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of the music. I was singing the Amumu song just the other day, just kind of apropos nothing. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that exists, and then I started singing it. And then my daughter asked me what I was singing. I was like, I don't want to get that into the mix with you. Don't worry about it. Because eventually she will be like a teenager, and she'll be like, oh, that song that you always sang me as a baby, that's from like League of Legends. That's cringe, Dad.
Whatever.
That's fair. That's my right.
They're going to think we're cringe no matter what.
What?
So
no, they're going to think
I'm hell. Fuck that.
They're going to think that I'm bussing. Yeah.
Mark, you did not help your cause. That was much cringier than anything else you've maybe ever done.
Hey.
Oh. I'm bussing. Bussing them kids. Oh.
Oh, God.
Anyway, my highlight.
Yeah.
Nobody asked.
I thought we were going around the horn.
And then you guys talked about other things.
We're taking a really long, circuitous route.
It's not worth it. I don't know why I decided to bring it up.
No, I love it.
Okay. I'm a big sucker for Vi and Jinx, so all of their interactions were my highlight. But my highlight is when they're the episode where they're looking for Warwick in the tunnels. I really, really wanted them to have interactions with each other like that. Just like sisterly bickering and normal ass shit, and learning more about each other and how they are now, because they're both so different. Maybe Vi a little less different. Yeah, but that was it for me. And I can't get the Vi Warwick shot out of my head. It's so good.
I know.
And her trusting him and all of that.
Oh, I don't know if y'all hear me, but you froze.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't want to undercut it, but Isha's death scene also destroyed me every time.
Oh, that's a phenomenal scene. Yeah.
I haven't looked up what the actual like English translation is for like the.
I think I
lyrics.
had seen a TikTok about it, but I don't remember them now.
Isha?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wasn't
all the
it
lyrics
like-
in the songs are very intentional.
The lyrics
It was
in
like
the
Protector or something.
Echo, the Echo Jinx song as well. Their dancing scene was good.
That one I did look up because
Yeah.
I was listening to that song just on my own. I was like, okay, well I'm gonna sit here and just mumble French to myself.
Yeah.
You mean the lyrics to the song that was playing when you should die?
Yeah, like what's actually being said, because it's in Chinese, right? The Isha song. I thought it was.
I think so. I'm very terrible at recognizing language.
Right,
I didn't recognize it.
Here?
I just vaguely.
Child, don't be afraid of the thorns with your bare foot. You can find the essence of the world. You see the skies turning gray. How stunning the firework was. We are all slaves of nature, blossom and withered, yet even stubborn rocks and barriers bloom with flowers. Push aside the mountains, let me see her. Tell those stars to shine on me faster. Blow away the dark clouds with that blue in my heart. Even if the world is full of desolation, we can lift our heads up and see the moon. This is a longer song than there's just one more verse. They just repeat. When we are still in the guise of children, as one among millions, still must blossom into a solitary and splendid flower. Don't wander in troubles anymore. Don't forget. Oh God, there's so many ads here.
Oh my God.
Don't forget, even if the tears flow, keep running forward. Run until even time cannot be found. Be a carefree flying bird.
Well, I mean, that all feels very on brand with what's happening in the sequence.
It does. It sounded better in Chinese. That was a good call.
Well,
yeah. It was a good call. Like, they sang all those exact words in English first, and they're like, weirdly, this rhymes when it's in Chinese. Should we sing it in Chinese?
Christian, you've done it again.
Fuck. We've lost the plot on this one. Oh, anyway, I'm trying to think if I had any more Arcane feelings. Oh, I was thinking about, because we were talking about Savika and Vi, and Savika being on the council. Vi would obviously be so thrilled to have a Zaunite on the council. How do we think she would feel about Savika being that Zaunite?
I think it'd be a lot of. I think it's fun. It's very fun. Again, I want
to see this interact. I want to see them become frenemies and then friends so badly.
I think they would. I don't even think it would take a lot, honestly.
Just one drinking night. They both had like a fight with their partners, and they're just
like so many people have betrayed Vi at this point that she seems to have kind of gotten over. Like, even when she meets Huck again, like, because he sold him out, and he's like, "Oh, you fucking traitor!" And you're like, "Yeah, but I'm better now." She's like, "Oh, okay,
all right, well,
sweet,
sure."
I think Savika's. She would see that Savika has both, I guess paid her dues a bit, and also maybe not recognized the error of her ways, because I think in the end of things she still was like, I don't know, maybe she would probably do it again, honestly.
I think she would recognize that Savika did believe she was doing what was best
for
Zaun and to make Zaun what it should be. Even if it was a little harsher than maybe.
Because I think I think what Vi does, she needs to get it out of her system. She needs to punch you a lot, and she's gotten a chance to do that to Savika.
She's punched Savika
I think they
so
could
many
walk
times.
up to Savika right now and just be like, "Oh, we're cool. Like, I punched you. I ripped your fucking arm off. Like, we're square. I feel like
a new one."
Right. Yeah.
Well, imagine the Vi, like the arm that Vi would try to make her. It'd be like made out of pipe cleaners or something.
Right. She'd just like take off one of her gauntlets and put like a stick in it. Be like, where does this?
She looks like a snowman.
You can just leave that. You can just figure that out a little bit.
One of the biggest things I'm getting on TikTok right now are just like people editing Vi and Jace doing dumb fucking shit because they're both just like stupid ass. Oh man. Anywho, any final thoughts?
Oh,
we can talk about Swain and the Raven.
Sure.
Okay, Mark, fuck it.
Sure. I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Swain. I don't know what's happening in Noxus,
That's true.
man.
I was just excited to see that Raven open up all his fucking eyes. That was pretty hype. I love Swain.
The middle of Jace's hammer, right? Getting
that good juice.
The goo out of there, right?
Eating up that goo. Gonna bring it back to Swain. Barf it in his mouth like a baby bird.
Yeah, baby bird it, yeah.
I didn't need that visual, you throat goat.
You're welcome.
So
I don't know. I feel like with this one, there's a lot of things that we'll finish this episode, and then tomorrow I will wake up and be like, fuck, I should have talked about this, or I should have talked about that. Like, we could talk about the sort of weird time loop thing with Victor. I kind of don't want to. I'm a little worn out. I'll be honest.
I know. I'm with you.
Yeah. Out of curiosity. All right. Well, if I do this, we're talking about the time loop, I guess.
It's fine. Go for it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Why was it? We know that Victor's ultimate goal, right, was to find the version of Jace and the rune.
Oh, the rune that would work.
The proper rune that would work for Jace to long term be able to convince him that
this is a bad idea.
This isn't gonna be the best. What about you don't do any of that? You know, so he never goes and invents hex tech in the first place.
It's I get that.
Probably
have
to go through way less iterations that way.
Just give him like a bean or something.
Bury this, Jack.
Yeah, bury this.
Right? Like, you know, he's gonna just like
Jason the Beast.
Meet him right or just meet him right before he gets to that snowy area and be like, hey, you guys got gloves? No? Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing here?
Right? Bring hot cocoa. Right? That, like, you know, like,
get Braum there somehow.
It's a very good question. That's a great question, right? That's the thing. We're like, why not? Right? Why not? And I don't know.
I don't like a lot of time travel stuff. I've always been okay with echoes, as we've talked about endlessly and its limitations. But a time loop, time travel-y thing, unless it's Bill and Ted, don't come for me. I don't want to know.
Well, look, if they treated it with all the gravity of Bill and Ted, then I would be a little more okay with it all.
Exactly.
You know, yeah. But it's treated very, very seriously. But it's like, I think what you're kind of getting at, John, to me is like a symptom of, I don't know, I can't explain to you in detail what specifically has happened in this sort of time loop. I can kind of suppose as to like, okay, I think this is kind of what's happening and these are the mechanics of it, but it's like it's such a can of worms, and I don't know how much excuse me, I don't know how much value it adds to open that can. Is kind of what I feel. It's like, why do we need this? Like, can it not have just been that he went to another universe and saw what could happen and then was inspired to like come back? Or maybe there's a Victor there who's like he could have met an alternate universe Victor who was, I don't know, kind of stuck and rusted in like this big throne and couldn't move, but just like is able to talk to Jason. Like, this is what happened. I don't know.
Now, we know that this has been in the works for a while. When this started was likely when, probably close to around when Marvel Phase 2 was kicking off, right?
I assume so. I don't really.
Do we think they were like, oh shit, okay, Marvel's getting into the multiverse. Multiversal shit is gonna be massive.
So hot right now.
It's gonna be so good.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
and they really misread the room on that.
Yes, I think that's not entirely.
They didn't realize how long
possibility.
it was gonna take, and that people were gonna be really fucking sick of it. Actually, by the time they got it out.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's not outside the realm of possibility. I feel like there have been some aspirations sort of reaching for some of what's going on with the MCU. I mean, that was certainly a feeling I had a little bit watching kind of the end of Act 3. It was like
I agree. It's like it's ending in the Marvel explosions in the sky, light explosions in the sky.
Yeah, they had the light pillar and everything. I mean,
sure, yeah.
To be fair, too, like even from our time at Riot, Marvel was always.
That's true. Yeah.
Every talk we went to, Marvel was brought up. They're like, we want what Marvel has. Every single some behind the curtains thing. Anytime we were having an inspirational meeting at Riot, Marvel was always like, we want this universe that Marvel has. And you can see it in like if you watch any world ceremony now, like the fists now is always like they do the Marvel fist too. Like, I mean, there is clear inspiration
for sure, and I don't think they're wrong to want to draw that comparison or reach for that, right? Because it's like when you think about it, kind of a step back, it's like there's a lot of similarities. It's this big collection of essentially superheroes, right? Who just like, I get it, right? That's the thing. It's like you could do that and still also retain so much of like what was good about season 1, which is like its own unique thing. I don't know. I will say I've not like engaged with a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I can't speak to like its quality at a high level, and it does seem like the end game and all that stuff. Like I don't know how good it was written, but they certainly did pull it off, which is like to their credit, I guess I'll say.
Now
they built up this big thing and completed
I mean,
it,
here's maybe a complaint is, I mean, obviously aspiring for what is the biggest entertainment juggernaut of today, regardless of what you think of their more recent offerings, still one of the biggest entertainment juggernauts in the fucking world right now. Aspiring to that, nothing wrong with that. I think season 1 of Arcane was like a very perfect Iron Man type situation, right? It was a nice self-contained, small-scale story with a lot of heart. And it's almost like they jumped straight from Iron Man 1 to Endgame.
Yeah.
It was a bit of an undeserved Endgame jump.
Yeah.
Good point.
I
can't believe I just followed that. But you were talking about Iron Man, and I was like, oh my god, that first Iron Man is so good.
Yes.
Just thinking about it.
I think it's exceptionally apt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does really make me almost like start to worry for Riot a little more broadly, when it's like whenever they try and tackle these really big stories, they seem to have trouble with it. They do well in the small spaces and things that are smaller and more small scale, but like they do also have so much of what they're writing reach for these really big ideas and big world spanning, universe affecting things. It's like, I don't know, but so far I don't know if I've been convinced of y'all's ability to tell that kind of story. You know what I mean? So,
and I don't need it.
It's also
being honest. Like if you just keep telling those small scale stories that you're really good at, like I will eat that shit up every time.
Yeah. I'd be curious. I would be curious how much of the audience does want things like that, because it's hard, because like you have people who are upset that like Blitzcrank was not in Arcane, for example, where it's like it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate to have Blitzcrank tooling around
like
in this.
Mundo, right? Like,
Mundo, right? It's like it does not work. I know it's frustrating that you're Mundo main or whatever. I get it. It's like, but we got to understand. Read the room, like you said, right? And it's like if you're big on Aurelian Soul, how the fuck, like, what are we gonna do? We're just never ever gonna tell the Aurelian Soul's crown-breaking story. Oh yeah, we shouldn't. We should never tell that story. But still, right? Like,
man. Well, I'll say, to play the devil's advocate, as someone who's not really a big Marvel fan, I think Arcane's better.
Than like the whole Marvel universe?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just all fine.
It's like, it's very,
Don't come for me, please.
It's very tight, Like, I think that, like, the best, like, you could maybe put the best Marvel offering on the same plate as, like, season 1 of Arcane, but, like, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't lie. Like, there's no Marvel project that has 100%. I don't think on Rotten Tomatoes, so...
Didn't Black Panther have 100% for a while there? Does it still?
Might have. That's a good movie. I mean, I like some Marvel movies, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel makes good movies.
But nothing makes me feel... They didn't make me feel the way Arcane made me feel.
No, absolutely not.
Certainly not season 1. I mean, even moments in season 2, like the ones we kind of highlighted. I mean, this is, again, my exposure to MCU is relatively limited. I've seen maybe count on one hand the movies
Oh, damn.
That I've seen. Maybe two. There was this. I have an uncle-in-law who's really into it, and there was a time where I would go over and we'd kind of start watching them one by one, but that petered out kind of quick because I was not that into it. So it's like I don't know. I can't speak to the big oeuvre of it all. Season one. I think even without having seen most of it, I would hold up season one against most. I would hold it up against a lot of things, frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is
one of the best pieces of media.
One of the best pieces of media of all time.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's an easy. If nothing else, it's an absolute recommend. I will always recommend season one to somebody. Season two is I'm a little more gun shy, or it would be a little more depending on the person. But almost anyone, season one. Maybe not like. No, I still recommend it to my parents. Probably, I suppose.
I've recommended it to my parents. They stopped after episode 2. They got lost.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I will say you do need to It is a season 1 and 2. They are information dense.
Yeah.
You cannot. This is not.
Get up. Look. I could see your parents not fully paying attention.
No, absolutely. My sister got totally lost because she was watching it late at night and fell asleep a few times. Your mom also fell asleep a few times. You gotta pay attention.
Wake up and ask us questions.
You can't be sleepy. I just ate this big turkey dinner. Watch Arcane.
So no Arcane on any major holidays.
Right.
They might eat turkey.
Should be like some sort of warning label or something like. Warning: if it's 11:30 and you've had a long ass day, just go to sleep. Come back fresh.
Watch some Detroiters and come back tomorrow.
We've been watching Detroiters.
I've never heard. I don't even know what that is.
It's what's his name? Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
I was like, I never really got his comedy, but the other night I was incredibly high and we were trying to think of something to watch, and I was like, maybe I'll get it. So we just kind of stumbled across Detroiters, and you know what? When you're fucking shit ripped high, that shit is hilarious. I have yet to watch it sober.
I have watched it sober,
and he's laughing.
It holds up.
It's really funny.
I was not the biggest fan of.
I think you should leave.
I think you should leave.
Mm-hmm.
It really seems like they took the best ideas. I mean, this came out way before I think you should leave. We found out the other day, but it does seem like they saved all the best bits and used them for this television show instead of using them for the sketch show. But anywho, that's our media recommendation.
This is our Tim Robinson podcast.
This is I think you should stay. Our Tim Robinson podcast.
Yo, that's so good, John. Fuck. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm fine with us having little media recommendations at the end. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Get to know a little bit more about us.
Yeah. What we're doing.
Yeah. We're excited for season 2 of Severance. How about you?
I fell asleep watching the original Nosferatu. Well, I almost fell asleep. We stopped because we were both almost falling asleep, and we watched the rest later. That's okay.
Was this a Sarah decision?
Yeah, but I was on board because she wants to see the new one really bad, and I've never seen any Nosferatu piece of media. So.
No, me neither.
Was it Note for you? No, not
for
you.
Not for
not for you.
Yeah, you got something there, kind of. Sure, right? Yeah. I had proper expectations going in. What was a trip though was we were watching it on a streaming platform that was ad breaks. So we'd be watching this movie from 1922. And then it would cut to a modern ad, and it was the most jarring shift I can imagine.
That's so fucking true, dude. Oh my god.
This is like one of those weird indie ones where they get weird ads for weird shit, and even those weird ads, this would blow someone's mind. Imagine someone watching Nosferatu for the first time in 1922, and then they see an ad for something that will buy you Bitcoin or whatever. That shit, whatever. Mr. Clean running around and shit. And it's who is that horrible bald man? I mean, Nosferatu? No, I mean
the other
one. Is that what Nosferatu looks like now?
He's very clean.
What they've done to him?
They replaced his fangs with mops.
He's so
That's the liberal agenda.
We want men to have mops and no
mop
teeth.
Men.
The mop men prophecies.
The mop men. All right, I think
How do we get here? It's 1:30. Or no, it's not 1:30. We're recording is almost an hour 30. I think we're done. Towel, We've talked about Arcane.
We did it.
I can't wait to talk about it again in like 5 years, which I think will be an appropriate amount of time for us. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We have a Twitch, twitch.tv/lorehead. Sean streams on Saturdays. He does TFT and A-Ram with viewers. We also have a YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces. We have some clips and whatnot and parody songs. Please check out our YouTube. And we have a Discord. You want to find some people to play League with, chat, make fun of us, post weird memes that we don't understand because we're too old. Please join the Discord. And we have a Patreon, as we talked about. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons, King of Hearts and Mr. Dead. If you were the next season of Arcane, I would spend 250 million on you to
exist.
Oh my goodness. Really
we really got out there.
He was finding it in the middle of it.
I knew from the whole time where I was going with that.
Just like the sentence that you're actively engaged in. Existential.
Well, please be sure to join us next week. We're going to have our own little holiday special episode. We need to lighten it up a little bit. We're sick of Arcane. We're going to have some fun drinks and maybe some hats. And we're going to talk about like all of the wintry skin lines, you know, all that you use. Because they all have very small bits of lore, I believe. So all the old Christmas, because they used to be kind of more Christmas themed and now they're winter themed. They use. I'm excited to dive into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Work.
What?
Work.
I don't get it.
We actually have to read stuff again after like 2
months.
Oh,
yeah, that's all right.
We had this. Yeah,
we've had it too good for too long.
Just watching TV.